Okay, so Shopcat and I are working in this video on the drip edge up here. And I want to show you a piece that I've already put up there, what I've done to it. And I want to show you the next piece that I'm working on. Now you don't have to fold the edge over like I did here, but I did it anyway because it makes it a little bit better. And I want to show you how I'm going to make it even better than that fold I made right there. Along here you can see that I've put screws every 16 inches. And I've got this with no screws, a good 12 inches here and more, that I can use for overlap. I don't have any screws in it so that I'm not dealing with screw heads when I try to overlap it. And to push on it when I put the screws in so I get it tucked up here nice and tight. The decking got rained on and it bowed a little bit right here. And you can see how using an edge like this is just an L-type edge. It's not really got a drip edge on it, but it's a L-type drip edge. And it covers all this stuff. It also leaves me something if I want to come back later and do some mods on this shed. And I want to put metal on here, another L piece that covers all this fascia instead of depending on just the paint. I can come back later and slip that up underneath the edge of this because it's got a rolled edge right here. It's really easy to slip stuff under it. And we've got a 16-foot wall and two 10-foot pieces. And the 10-foot pieces are actually 10 foot 3 inches long. So we have a little extra, which is great because I like to fold over the ends. And I did some calculations and I should be able to cut this at 7'2" and have a 12-inch overlap. But then I double checked with my tape measure, climbed up the ladder and double checked, and it would be 7'4" for that overlap. But I'm just still gonna go to the 7'2" because a 10-inch overlap I'm fine with. I'm happy with that. And so I'll mark this at 7'2" for a cut. And because this is going to be the cut piece, I put no screws from here all the way over to there so that I can slip up. I can flex this a little bit and slip up under it instead of going over it. That way I'll have a factory cut edge on top. You may be wondering, why didn't I cut that first piece and why do I cut this instead of the other piece? Because yes, you're right. If I had cut this piece and then left the factory edge on the other piece at full length and the factory edge on the other piece, I could just lay it right over there and I'd have the factory edge on top. But here's the problem with that. I've done that before and I have to really push on that factory edge when I'm putting it on top to try to get it tight. When I cut my second piece like that, then come back up here and go through the trouble of slipping it underneath there, this is already tight. And when I slip something underneath of it, it makes it even tighter. So I have a really nice tight fit on my factory edge right up against there. I don't claim to be a pro with this. If you've got any suggestions or ways to do this better, put them in the comments below. Meanwhile, what I've learned to do on these ends is cut at an angle down to where the fold is, and again at an angle. And make sure you got glasses on because that flip up and stab you right in the eye. Okay, and then I need another angle cut right here because, see, these are folded and that's really thick. And when you go to fold this, it's not going to fold very well if you've got that big, thick piece in there. Same thing at the bottom. This angle right here, this is not going to be a perfect 90. It's going to go like that or like that, and that gives a little room for them to fold over each other without interfering with each other. Now I got to put this over and work this part, bring that up. Whew, that that is sharp. All this metal working is very, very dangerous. I literally keep a tube of triple antibiotic in my pocket and a couple of band-aids whenever I'm working with metal, because it's so frequently that I'm bleeding after metal working. Step back down. All right. And then I'm going to use the table edge to help me, and I'm going to use a piece of 2x4 to also help me fold that over. And this is really sharp too, and it can go right through a glove. Look, my crease got wrong, very wrong. Back that up, see if I can't do better than that. Yeah, that's a bad angle. It's because I didn't tuck that in there enough. Let me get you a close-up so you can see what I've done wrong there. See how I didn't get that tucked in there good enough, and that caused it to fold from there at an angle down to there instead of giving me a nice straight fold. So I don't want you to have to do that. That is not in far enough. Started my crease, and that crease went in an angle instead of a nice straight fold. So let's see if I can't. Better. Right there. Back that up. Now there's a flat looking pair of pliers. It's got 2 flats on it. It's really good for doing this. Much better than what I'm doing. But I left that in my garage with my welding and metalworking equipment. So I don't have it with me today. All right. So that is like one of the worst looking ones I've done. But if I hadn't made that mistake right there, it would have been folded and looked really good like the other one. It's still going to be able to help keep water intrusion out of the corner, and it is going to be covered. When I come back and put these pieces, they're going to go on top of the metal roofing and wrap around and go on this piece of trim board all the way down to this corner and cover all that up. One last thing I can do to help prep this so that I'll have less ladder work is find, okay, these are a lot tougher screw right here. It's a really sharp point because it's one of the ones that's made for doing metal roofing. I can use it to make a hole, small hole. Now I can't use these screws because that head would be between this and the metal roofing. So I need a screws with really shallow heads, and they're not really strong for penetrating. So I've got these holes, makes it easier for them to penetrate, and a lot easier for me too. The little cheap Black & Decker is great for this because it's very lightweight, and I don't need any power for this kind of stuff. It's not very powerful, but it's really lightweight, cheap, and I don't have to carry the big heavy Porter cable or the big heavy Ryobi up there. Also, if I drop the little cheap Black & Decker from that distance and it ruins it, it's not much money to replace one of these. And this is how it turned out. See how nice and tight that overlap edge is. And the factory edge looks nice and straight. And over here, it doesn't come to an abrupt end. It folds over and rolls over the edge. And then of course all that's going to be covered up with the metal that goes across there. And then again with the metal that goes over the edge of the metal roofing. So just click the link in the corner if you want to see how I put all this metal roofing on. And how I put this trim and stuff on, make these corners look like this. As you can see, that fold over is completely covered by that trim. Click the link in the other corner if you want to see the playlist that shows the entire build from ground up all the way to the metal roof and everything.